Alright, so I'm back, and today we're going to do another rant of the week, and today we're going to be talking about the Starscream through the 4 incarnations that I know him from. You know, like I did the Optimus and Megatron rants of the week a few weeks back. I'm a little distracted lately. Hasn't been a very good few weeks. Anyway, so, and yes, I do have an MP Starscream that we will be looking at soon. Very, very, very happy about that. Because the chest doesn't lock. I hate that. A lot of them are like that. Anyway, so we'll start out with like my least favorite, what I think did the least amount of justice to the character, and then move on to the best one. So, quite frankly, the worst incarnation of Starscream, in my opinion, was the animated one. You know, a lot of times I give animated a little bit more credit than I should, but I mean, he was just garbage in animated. Just utter garbage. I mean, I can't think of really anything he did. I mean, in the very first episodes, he planted a bomb to blow up Megatron. Okay. Didn't really pay off. And yeah, it just and the rest of he was just kind of the comedic relief. And this is Remus. He wanted to stop by and say hello, I guess. He's a new addition to the family. Yeah, you're he's just having fun. Anyway, so in the animated movie, animated series. Okay, get down. You're okay. In the animated show, he was just, I thought he was just a wasted character. Half the time he'd jump in and try and kill Megatron, and Megatron would just kill him. And then Megatron rode around space with his Starscream severed head for a while. Again, just stupid kind of thing. It's like, why would you have Starscream on in your movie if that's all you're going to do? And I was just not too thrilled about it at all. Now the next one, see, now this is actually where it gets really hard because I have to put the Bay version as the second worst, but and quite honestly, he was probably one of the characters that was done the best by Bay. You know, in the first movie, yeah, he doesn't show up till near the end, but I mean, he fucking owned those other jets. He was just, I mean, I loved how he would fight. He would fight as a fighter jet, and then he'd transform real quick and start taking out the other jets with either his, you know, rocket blasters, or you just fly by and just claw him. I thought it was he was pretty well utilized for the small amount of time he was in. You know, even Megatron was able to get a couple quick snaps and, you know, at him. In Revenge of the Fallen, again, Starscream kind of did more than, well, he did more than most other Decepticons. I think Soundwave was the one that did the most in that movie. He really carried the weight of the intelligence on the Decepticons. They really kind of ruined some things there. But I think Starscream, you know, you see him, you know, searching out Sam. He helps Megatron kill Prime in the forest. Yeah, he loses an arm in the process, but he's able to put it back on. And then he's flying in the desert, and he shuts off the communications for the for the soldiers. You know, he does the EMP blast that fries out their communications array. He's tracking down Sam again and blasting them out of the cars and stuff like that. And essentially leading the charge of the Decepticons when Megatron wasn't really right on screen. So I think he did a really good job in there. And then he in the he had in Revenge of the Fallen, he had the best Decepticon line, I have to say. At the end, when he's like, not to call you a coward, master, but sometimes coward survives, and convinces Megatron that, you know, hey, dude, Prime just fucking tore your arm off and blew half your face off, and then he pulled your leader's face off and ripped his spark out. Time to go. Right, Remus? Remus agrees. And then in Dark of the Moon, again, yeah, he was the one that was sent to destroy the Autobot shuttle. It's like, you know, couldn't Soundwave have done that? Couldn't Shockwave have done that? Couldn't Megatron himself? Or Sentinel Prime? Yeah, any of those guys really could have done it, but Starscream did it. You know, Starscream is badass enough to get that assignment because they know Starscream would get it done. Yeah, they weren't in the shuttle, and so he didn't technically get the job done. But, I mean, it wasn't really his fault on that. Because the Autobots knew that was going to happen. Yeah, the worst part of him in the whole Bait trilogy was the fact that he got killed by Sam. Which, as sad of a showing as that was, it was kind of funny. Because he's like, ah, my eye! He shoots out his other eye. He was just having a really bad day, and he just had too much. He was playing with Sam too much before he should have just ended him as soon as he saw him. Then I have to go with my second favorite, Prime, the Prime Starscream. I thought he had the most character development of all the Decepticons, if not most of the Autobots. I mean, Smokescreen had a really good character development at the end of Season 2, but then it was all just kind of thrown away for Season 3. Optimus Prime probably had a really good... He had a really good character development going from the Optimus Prime that we all know to a kind of a darker... I'm gonna have to kill you, Optimus Prime, which was a really good showing and character development. But really, all the other Autobots, all the other Transformers didn't have a whole lot of character development. I think Starscream had the best. He went from being loyal to Megatron at the beginning, but knowing that Megatron's ideas are kind of crazy, which, you know, admittedly they were. He's wanting to... he keeps wanting to play. I think he sees me on the camera and he's getting confused on which one is me. Anyway, sorry. So, you know, he's kind of loyal, but then he's realized that Megatron's plans are a little too out there. And also, you know, he sees Megatron injured at the end of, I think it was episode 5. He sees Megatron injured, and, you know, he was going to finish him off, but instead he drug him back, and he didn't know what the Dark Energon was doing in his chest. Yeah, it might be keeping him alive, it might not, who knows? You know, it's just one of those, like, he took charge when Megatron was, through Megatron's own plans, injured him. So Starscream took charge, and eventually when Megatron came back, they bickered for a while, but at the end of the day, Megatron killed Dreadwing to ensure Starscream's safety, because he knows Starscream is a better commander. And I absolutely loved the end of Season 2 seeing Starscream, Megatron giving the order to Starscream, and Starscream going like, all right, here it comes, you know, and he takes off with the entire Decepticon armada, and they start just bombing the shit out of Autobot base. It was just awesome. I really enjoyed that. It was probably one of the best Starscream scenes in the entire season or series. Not to mention he also executed Cliffjumper in the first episode. I mean, that show was really, really about Starscream. And I know the new show is supposed to be kind of like a sequel to it, so I hope, well, I'm not really holding my breath again on that show, but I hope that if it is good, I hope we do get to see a continuation of the Starscream story. Because he really did, he really did probably one of the best jobs in that show. And it's really, really close call between the Prime version and the G1 version. And the G1 version, he wins just hands down because that's Starscream. I mean, I know, you know, by that logic, Megatron should be, the G1 Megatron should always win, and everyone else at G1, but the G1 Starscream is just, you know, he was perfect for the character that they were going for. You know, he's a strong-willed character, and I don't know where he gets the whole he's a coward thing, because the only times he really retreats in the G1 is when everyone else is retreating. So he doesn't back down. He generally will stick the fight straight out. And, you know, he's the one who's telling Megatron, hey, we need to use a little caution here because we don't know what's going to happen. You know, he had the best characterization of the Decepticons when it comes to, like, having friends, because he cared about Jetfire. He wanted to fix Jetfire because he was his friend. Later on, he started trying to use Jetfire as a means to take over the Decepticons. But the point remains is that, you know, he was the one that said, hey, we need to fix it. And you could tell that he actually cared about Jetfire, which is really kind of crappy of Jetfire to just say, hey, fuck you, and go to Autobots, because Starscream was his friend, and Starscream really wanted to help him. But, man, I really wish there was a way to lock this chest in. You know, and then he, you know, throughout this season or series, he's every now and then he comes up with a plan to take over the Decepticons, or just wipe everybody out. And I think it was Megatron's master plan, I think it was, where he ends up going to Cybertron and trying to destroy the Earth with Megatron on it, something like that. Which was a good plan. He has, when he comes up with his plans to destroy Megatron and take over command, generally he's doing a pretty good job. Like that one in particular, when he took a cheap shot at Megatron and he thought he won, and then Megatron's like, you know what, I'm done with you, and he throws him out. So he instantly comes up with the plan of, hey, you know what? If I can't lead those Decepticons, I'll build my own. And he builds the Combaticons. I mean, how awesome is that? I mean, by himself, he builds the Combaticons. You know, Megatron used the entire Decepticon force to build the Stunticons, and he used pretty much everybody to build the Constructicons as well. Starscream on his own built Combaticons. And they were more than easily more than a match for Devastator, not Devastator and Minosaur. But the point remains is that Bruticus was one of the strongest showings, and it's because of Starscream who built him. And he came up with that plan of, okay, I've got the Combaticons. I'm going to take over the Decepticons. And he tries, and he fails eventually. And then he gets booted off the planet. And he gets back on Cybertron with Shockwave and finds out that the Combaticons are flying the Earth into the sun. And he quickly tells Megatron, "Hey, I'm flying the Earth into the sun. If you don't admit me that I'm the leader, I'll just let it fly in." And then the Combaticons, captured him. It was just, and then at the very end of that, when Autobots are saying, "Hey, we need to destroy Bruticus," Starscream instantly comes up with the plan of, "Hey, you know what? Let's rebuild him. We'll trick the Autobots, tell them that he's dead, and we'll rebuild him and make him loyal to Megatron, which will put me back in good graces with Megatron, and thus he becomes second in command again, or lieutenant, or whatever he was, because he was never really second in command in the G1 show. And I don't know where everyone started thinking that he was, because it was Shockwave that was second in command. Megatron flat out said that a few times, briefly, but Starscream, no, he wasn't the strongest of the Decepticons, and at times he wasn't the brightest, but he was a scientist. And if you watch like the episode of Cosmic Rust, it was Starscream that was called to Megatron's aid to fix Megatron. So clearly he's not just a scientist, but he also has some sort of medical background, or at least minor field repair. Because, I mean, honestly, who else do you have? G1, we didn't have Knockout. I really wish we get a G1 Knockout, or G1, or like an IDW style Knockout. But anyway, and then of course, the events of the movie where he takes advantage of Megatron being horribly injured, throws him out of Astro Train, takes over the, and I would love to see how it went from Soundwave versus, everybody else, and the the Constructicons forming Devastator, and somehow Starscream still comes out on top. I would like to see how Starscream came out on top. Clearly, he was able to best everybody else, and then of course Galvatron comes in and just incinerates him in like 10 seconds. So yeah, but yeah, G1 Starscream. Starscream, of all the characters that have been carried over, Starscream really is one of the more solid ones. Yeah, his show in animated was weak. I don't know about the Unicron trilogy, because I never watched the Unicron trilogy yet. It's on the to-do list, but it's I think everybody had a weak showing in that show. I don't know. Oh, and in Beast Wars, continuation of G1, Starscream shows up in Beast Wars. He possesses Waspinator, and the first thing that happens is he takes over the Maximal base in like 10 seconds flat by attacking their strongest point, because he instantly realized, oh, everyone's going to be focused on the weak point. So we're going to go out for the strong point. And because of that, they were able to take the base. And then he quickly starts taking over the Predacons too. But it was just great to see him do that. And also in G1, Starscream's ghost. He comes back. He tricks Unicron. Raise your hand if you've ever tricked a god. Galvatron couldn't. I love that scene where Unicron's like, okay, now connect my head to the planet. Starscream's like, do it yourself, dude. I'm done. I got what I wanted. He was smart enough to realize that Unicron was going to be a bigger threat, and he just walked away. Then he just got blasted in space, and you see Galvatron flying after him afterwards. But the ghost of Starscream, was good. I just I think G1 was the strongest showing. Animated, like I said, animated was weak. The Bay movies, I think he had probably the best of the Decepticon showings of all of them. And just all around, the Prime and G1, I mean, Starscream is, like I said, one of the better characters to come out. I'm not saying he's better than Prime, because Prime is a better character, but there are certain times where, like, the Bay version of Starscream, I would say is better than the most of the movie Primes, especially the first movie Prime. It's hard to just say movie Prime because they're all different. And it definitely better than the the power-hungry Megatron who seems to be in control, but is just a puppet on a string. Where Starscream is just, a commander, and people listen to him, and the other cons listen to him. I really think Starscream is a good character. I really hope that we get to see his character get developed in the new show, if he's even going to be in the show. If the show sucks, I hope he's not in the show, to be honest. I'd rather not have Starscream in the show than have him comedic relief again. The animated really was terrible showing because he looked cool. I don't know. So yeah, there you go. There's my thoughts on the G1 or on Starscream in general. And yeah, I think that's just about it. So you guys saw the dog. So next week we will be talking about everyone's favorite yellow car. We'll do Bumblebee talk. And this is gonna be a blast. Bumblebee.